Boom! You saw the image has more than enough reason to exterminate the Navi. I recently rewatched the 2 Avatar movies, and nearly throughout the whole thing I thought, how are we losing? It seems like we have the technological advantage in everything, and the forces are scattered across an entire planet. Then, I did a few Google searches, and realised a fake bubbly stew of plot armour and their version of the Geneva Convention was at fault. In this video, we'll ignore that, and I'll just say shit they could have done if they went full exterminatus mode and just wanted to clap the Navi and finally colonise Pandora. My first vid, by the way. Let's dig in.
You got tuberculosis.
Okay, rapid fire. The Navi are multicellular organisms made from the same building blocks of life as you and me. Stuff like carbon. That means they can most likely be infected by a pathogen. If the RDA were going to make one, it would probably be airborne because of Pandora's thick atmosphere, but pathogens that thrive in soil and water would be a cherry on top. Some of these pathogens would probably be tuberculosis, which already thrives in high CO2 environments, anthrax because its spores are insanely resilient, aspergillus, a fungal pathogen that got the same traits as tuberculosis. After modifying them and having a clear winner, the RDA would probably deploy these pathogens en masse by aerolizing them and dumping them on spots like the Tree of Souls, and afterwards, the RDA can just clean up the remains.
Probably easy when you get to your destination to just,
When the RDA arrived to Pandora, the only spacecraft that I've seen is this thing, the VentureSat, which, in all fairness, is one of the most realistic and efficient methods of getting cargo in and out of Pandora for the timeline. Because, you know, they can't just smack a button to do an FTL jump or travel through the warp. Give them 38,000 more years for that. Where were we? So, assuming an engineering breakthrough was made and they plopped a gun on it, they could just arrive at Pandora, bomb all Navi settlements, because you know, what the fuck are they going to do about it? And then just take out the stragglers. Also, small side note, this would low-key annihilate some unobtainium deposits and potentially part of the planet. But like, look at this dude go. Would you trust him around your kids? Didn't think so. Now, nuclear weapons could be risky, but you get the idea. Chuck some loyal dukes in major Navi settlements, destroying major areas in the process, and force the Navi to surrender. Chemical weapons would be a better method though, as the RDA already have equipment against contamination, like respirator masks, or the RDA's mech's fully sealed interior. All we need is shit like hazmat suits for the average ground troops. Then VX gas or whatever would be deployed, and any blue monkeys in the direction of the gas would be reset. If you've seen the movie, you probably already know how the Navi fight the RDA. They use their environment and terrain to ambush RDA forces and quick skirmishes to grind down RDA troops. There are loads of ways the RDA could adapt to this though. Some methods include deploying UAVs/drones for advanced sensors like infrared scanners, and then using that to prepare assaults on Navi positions, or using more chemical weapons like VX gas to clear out areas, or tear gas for an absolute wimp. Damn, the Geneva Convention bottlenecked us. Also, during the first movie, the RDA attempted to bomb the Navi in quite literally the stupidest way possible. They sent in a literal space shuttle to fly through low floating mountains, more or less begging to be ambushed. Tying back to orbital bombardments, the shuttles could have dropped their ordnance from orbit, or at least a higher altitude, which would have prevented basically all losses. And also for the record, the RDA deployed ground troops in that scene for literally no reason. It doesn't even compute. If you're attempting to annihilate the Tree of Souls via bombing, why would you deploy these dudes there? What?
Bro, you realise this is a movie made by James Cameron. It's not meant to be super realistic. They added them for explosions and shit, so stop.
No. Take a look at this RDA helicopter, called the Scorpion. Do you see anything wrong with the design? No? Take a look at the graphs, buddy. So yeah, you can pretty easily tell these windows aren't the best design choice for these helicopters. So why don't they just reinforce the windows? Or better yet, just remove it altogether and instead install sensors and cameras? Or, better yet, replace the helicopters with smaller, more nimble drones with explosives and shit, similar to the Ukrainian AQ-400 SIF. Instead of risking pilots' lives and expensive equipment, they could just bomb the Navi from afar with cheap and reliable drones. And to any of you nerds out there saying, but what about the Navi's Banshees? Oh no, shall I put a gun to it or something? Okay, so for this speed, you need to understand how disadvantaged the Navi were and still are compared to the RDA. Across the entire planet of Pandora, the Navi's total population is probably around 50,000 to 300,000, spread across hundreds of deorganized tribes with Stone Age level technology. It doesn't even matter that humanity pulled up with less initially, because from the Navi's perspective, every battle with them has the same amount of foes. What's my point in saying? They can be manipulated. Kind of like Gene Stealer cult, ATVR units or recombatants, not people like Jake Sully, should have been put on Pandora with the immediate task of blending into Navi society, gaining positions of power and trust, while spreading disinformation about the RDA, sending back intel, sabotaging and trying to secretly get as many disillusioned Navi on their side as they can. And when the RDA launches attacks, they could lead revolts to cause strife while the RDA surgically wipe them out. Okay, now you have to hear me out on this. I'm not a scientist or some expert, but I have Google and ChatGPT, so... On Pandora, the atmosphere is obviously unbreathable and toxic to both humans and electronics. Okay, nitrogen and oxygen seems good. CO2 and hydrogen sulfate slightly bad. Same with methane and ammonia along with xenon. The RDA would need to knock these down to breathable levels in a short enough time to kill the Navi without causing a mass extinction, by the way. The RDA would probably have to start out with seeding the oceans with GMO algae to begin absorbing CO2 and pumping out oxygen at a rapid pace. At the same time, tech similar to carbon capture could process hydrogen sulfate, ammonia, and other gases to chemically convert them into harmless compounds and release them into the atmosphere. Over a few decades, the atmosphere should hopefully change just enough to make the Navi die out, while letting most of the fauna and flora adapt to the changes, and also letting us breathe on our new home. Hey, you made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, like and subscribe. No, I'm not that desperate. It would be nice though. Comment what the next vid should be, and that's it. See ya.